That time again, I'm going to call the December 9th, 2025 meeting of the Edenton Town Council to order. Our first order of business tonight is the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'm going to call upon my friend, Councilman Elton Bond, to lead us in the invocation. Councilman Bond.
Yes, sir. Can we bow our ears, please? Oh, Heavenly Father, we come to Thee this afternoon and say thank you. Thank you for blessing us to see another beautiful day that you shared your love, your grace, and your mercy with us. Help us here at the council to do an outstanding job for the town of Edenton, to make it cleaner, safer, and happier. Please help the council as we go through this year with doing our work. As we might disagree on some items, let us leave here as good councilmen, because all of us do not think alike. Please bless us and keep us safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Next item of business is approval of our minutes from the October 27th meeting and the October 14th and November 10th meeting. Are there any requests for changes or corrections to those minutes as they have been presented to us? There appearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve all of those minutes. All right, we got a chorus of motions there. I assume one of them is a second. So all in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is public comment. I would like to remind our general public that's in attendance tonight several things. First, there are two public comment sections on our agenda tonight. The first one where we're at now is a general public comment session on general matters that may or may not be on the agenda tonight. And you're welcome to speak on any particular topic. Later in our meeting tonight, we will have the public hearing on the proposed ordinance to close the 400 block of South Mosley Street. If you're here to speak either in for or against that particular ordinance, the time for you to speak will be at that second public hearing that we're going to have in public comment. So again, at this point in time, this is public comment on general matters and not on the Mosley Street issue. If I call your name out and your intent is to speak on the Mosley Street issue, just let me know. We will not call you forward, but I will note it so that we can call you later at the appropriate time. The first person who signed up is Karen Murray. Miss Murray.
Hello, I'm Karen Murray, 112 West Queen. I have a quick question, and I see the sheriff is here, so it may be answered later. With the little incident that we had through our backyards earlier this week, we noticed that we didn't get any of the hyper alert, hyper reach things that we used to get whenever there was a storm. We didn't know we knew something was going on, but we didn't have any idea what until the media started reporting it about 2 days later. So maybe we can get some word out about how to get back on that, or is it down? Is it?
I think that's something, Ms. Murray, we can respond to immediately. You come to our meetings, sometimes if the answers require additional research, we
need to get the word out to the public.
But I think we can
Can I
respond.
go sit down so I can take notes?
Yeah, you sure can.
We've got an updated link for HyperReach. There are about 4,800 folks signed up as residents, and additional beyond that for businesses. What we'll do is we'll do a mass push out for sign-ups, and that may be something that's just a bad contact that's in there currently, and if something has changed, but we'll send that back out and folks are able to sign up, and it can remove duplicates if there's.
So all the people that used to be on it didn't get transferred to a new one?
We did a
Okay, we
call
missed us then.
for everyone that we had in the system, so what we'll ask is that you sign up immediately.
Okay, thank you.
Next, I believe this is the sheriff. I don't know him by Edward, but Edward Bassnight, will you come forward? Chief.
I'm Edward Bass Knight, Scooter Bass Knight, Sheriff of Chowan County. Just come here tonight to publicly thank Chief LaFawn and his staff for their assistance Sunday night on our escaped inmate. Their effort was beyond remarkable. They, as soon as I got to town, Chief was right there, what do you need? How many people do I need to call more people in? Anything I asked for, he was right there with me the whole night until we decided to call it to start fresh in the morning. This started about 7:45 that night. 2 o'clock in the morning, we had just started wrapping our heads around, okay, he's hunkered down somewhere, we're not making any effort tonight. He was with me the whole time. I just want to say he's an outstanding officer. Chief, you are lucky to have him. This county is blessed to have him and his staff, and I just want to publicly thank you. Some of our posts that went out may not have gave them the credit they were due. I'm sorry that there was any question whether they were there. They were there from the beginning to the end, side by side, doing anything that was asked of them. And I just wanted to publicly thank him and tell you what a great man you got here.
And Sheriff Bass Knight, like Chief LaFawn, I know you guys don't do it for the thanks. You both have a servant mentality and servant mindset, and far too often you don't get the thanks that y'all deserve. And I just want to let you know, as mayor and as council, we all appreciate what you do, and we say thanks.
Thank you, sir.
The next person who signed up is Susan, and I cannot read the last name, so if there's a Susan here.
Susan Rice? Is it Susan Rice?
Yes.
On Mosley Street though?
Mosley Street, okay, thank you. Next is Hal Murray.
Mosley Street.
Okay, thanks, Hal.
Yes, sir.
Larry Molderick,
Mosley Street.
Joe Wack,
Mosley.
John Grant.
Not Mosley.
Come on forward, JD.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I just wanted to note that tonight there is a public hearing. There is nothing on the website or the town's page on that. I know you all have been working on trying to get somebody up to speed to take care of that, but unfortunately this has become more of the norm rather than the exception as far as notification of public hearings on those two sites. So I just encourage you to make sure that that gets done.
Hopefully 2026 will be a new day in that regard. Thanks, JD.
Corey, what hours do we use to push those public hearings out?
So we follow the North Carolina general statutes on what is required, and those website announcements are not equivalent to local media. And so all the mandatory announcements are held through our local newspaper, and websites and social media are not considered to meet that statute. So those are a courtesy, but we will continue to get that back up once we're fully staffed.
Thank you. We put out guard signs as well, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, the next sign-up person is Jim Blunt,
I'll pass.
Mosley Street.
Or Blunt Street, as the case may be.
Okay. Okay, next we've got a special presentation. This is a presentation that Sharon Smith, who's with the North Carolina Department of Commerce, Rural Development. Sharon is here to present to us a presentation on creating outdoor recreation economies, which is also known as CORE, C-O-R-E. And we also have Dwayne Wilton here, and I'm not sure who wants to go first, but I'm going to let you decide that, Dwayne and Sharon. Sharon, thank you for being here.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thanks for having me here tonight. As Mayor High said, my name is Sharon Smith. I am the Community Economic Development Planner with the Department of Commerce. for the Northeast region here in the state of North Carolina. So I represent 17 counties and the towns within them, of which one is Chowan and the town of Edenton. So I just wanted to give you a brief update on what we've been doing with our core program here in the town of Edenton. So I'll just run through these slides real quickly and see if you guys and gals have any questions. Our core program, if you want to go to the next page, please. Sorry, it's a PDF. Thank you. This just explains a little bit more about who we are. So I am part of the Main Street and Rural Planning Center. So you know that the town of Edenton is a Main Street community, so that's a different part of our division. What I do is more strategic planning and technical assistance for towns. But the core program has been a facet of that, and that's what we've been doing for these past months here in Edenton. The Creating Outdoor Recreation Economies program is known as CORE, and what we've done is over the last couple of years, I guess it started right after COVID, folks decided that they were interested in spending more time outside, and we thought it would be beneficial to help our communities learn how to leverage their natural assets and people's desires to be outside to maybe make some money and strengthen the economy from that. So the Department of Commerce chose 34 communities throughout the state to participate in the CORE program, and Edenton was one of them. So here they are, the 34 communities across the state. One thing that was interesting for us, and reporting back to my colleagues and our team, was that Edenton was one of the furthest communities to the coast that we worked with in this program, so that made it a little more special. Thank you. These are the types of activities that are included in outdoor recreation. We didn't necessarily include basketball and baseball and those kind of sports activities. We were looking for more of the outdoor enthusiasts to sort of leverage those assets and see what we could do with more of that in the community. Thank you. We do want to thank our work group. These are the names of the folks on the left here who spent a lot of time with us going over lots of concepts of what we could do to leverage those natural assets and get people outside. And then, of course, we want to thank the board. Thank you. This was just a brief snapshot of our planning process. The meetings we held, you see listed here, lasted anywhere from an hour and a half to a little more than 2 hours each time, and then there was work that we did in between these meetings as well. This is a snapshot. We call it the bucket slide because it sort of, well, it has a lot of buckets on it, but this explains our process, how we do the 4 buckets up at the top are some of the data and the information that we put in towards creating a vision for the group and what they saw as an economic positioning statement, maybe how in 5 years or so Edenton could use some of the concepts developed by the group to leverage those natural assets we talked about. So this is how we do it. What the group came up with is the economic positioning statement, also known as the vision you see on the screen, and I won't read it to you, but this took a lot of brain power. And this would be the vision statement sort of describing the work that this group will do moving forward. After we identified the economic positioning statement, we developed some strategies that we took directly from that statement. And then worked on how we could drill down into making those strategies help us in our quest to leverage those natural assets. So for strategy 1, I believe there were 3 or 4 goals identified, but the first one you see here is to develop improved amenities and enhance public access to water-based recreational opportunities. And then some objectives underneath that. I'll let you read those yourself. Probably go on to the next slide. The second goal under the same strategy there is to develop improved amenities and enhance public access to land-based recreational activities. So the first goal was to work on water-based activities, and the second is for land-based. Next. The third goal under the strategy was to support and be engaged in the development of Hayes Farm as an asset that leverages Edenton's culture and history with outdoor recreation. So throughout our conversations, the work group kept coming back to Hayes as just a huge asset that the town has, and wanting to use that partnership to collaborate and make sure that the town and the foundation work together to make sure that that's best, more effectively used. The second strategy was to advance priority initiatives from Edenton's Outdoor Recreation Economy Plan, which we're going over now in brief, to enrich the experiences of both residents and visitors while strengthening overall quality of life. And this was an important point. The work group was very, adamant that residents need to improve their quality of life, and that these amenities should benefit the residents as well as visitors. So to not lose sight of the fact that the residents are equally as important as the tourism component. I'm sorry, can you go back to the first one? Yeah. So the first goal under this strategy is to maintain a group that meets regularly and is dedicated to advancing the goals of this plan. We found that that's really important in communities, to maybe maintain, it could be the work group that we've already established, but to maintain a group that sort of keeps track of how things are going, and we at Commerce won't abandon you. We'll continue to come and meet with the work group to make sure that the plan is being implemented. Second goal is to preserve and promote the history, charm, and natural beauty that make Edenton a great place to live and a great place to visit. So again, circling back to the residents being equally as important as the visitors. Are we still the second strategy? Third goal. Encourage and promote an environment of tourism in Edenton that adequately supports businesses in that sector and maintains the town's history, charm, and natural beauty. So, remembering that the residents are important, but also reflecting on the fact that tourism has made Edenton what it is today as well. So not to lose sight of that fact as well. And then the fourth goal of this strategy is to maintain and strengthen the existing businesses and employment base associated with the marine boating sector of the local economy. So that's in there to make sure that folks know, as we continue to work this plan and implement the activities, that there are some great maritime industry members, some employers here in Edenton that you guys will want to make sure are doing well and their needs are being met, so they stay here and continue to employ Edenton residents. All right, this is recommended actions and projects. So strategy 1, we've already been through. It includes 8 objectives that the town could take, and these are just a few of the recommended actions or projects that we would suggest. And I'll let you all read those yourself when you have time. And this is the same thing for strategy 2. These would be some of the recommended actions and projects. And I believe you have the whole plan, so you can go through all of them. And if you have any questions.
How often does your work group meet?
Well, we tried to meet every month. We tried to meet every month. I think in January we may have skipped a month and maybe one more, but we try to meet regularly.
How often can we get updates from this group?
Monthly, if you like. Assistant Manager Wheelton is a member of the group, and so I would imagine he could update you as often as you would like.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sharon, thank you for coming and sharing that with us. And Dwayne, is there anything you felt like you needed to add?
The only thing is, we're gonna continue working with this. This is just, in January, the council will adopt the plan. And then we have a group already set up, ready to help implement some of the goals and objectives that were identified in this plan.
Can we get that plan beforehand?
Yes, and so, the part of this, prior to our planning meeting, we would share this, but this also allowed you to have the presentation to see kind of that executive summary. And when we get to that planning session, that will be, something that we will be able to tweak or amend the adoption plan in late January to move forward and really figure out what's your top.
Will we have this before the close?
Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure.
The next agenda item is our public hearing on the consideration of the proposed ordinance to close a portion of the 400th block of South Mosley Street. At this time, I open the public hearing and encourage those of you that signed up as I call your name to come forward. Would like to remind everyone who is commenting that our comments are limited to 3 minutes. The first person that I have is Susan Rice. Susan?
Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to speak to you all tonight. I do appreciate it. And I hope you all don't mind if I tell a story for the reason that I'm here. About 10 years ago, I had a grandson that was born here, and we rented a home on Queen Street. And I was begging my husband to build a home, or buy a home, and he was absolutely not. And then one day he took me on a walk, and we went down South Mosley, and there was the most god-awful looking house that I've ever been to. And he said, "This is the one." And he said, "I will not consider another home. But if you can talk the lady into selling you this one, we will move here." Well, I cried on the phone, and the lady, we bought the house before he'd ever walked in. But why? I said, as we sat there, and I said, "Why?" We walked down there, we sat on the porch, and he said, "Why?" I said, "Why do you want this house?" And his only answer was the view. And that is the only problem I have with the issue at all. I don't have any problem of them owning the property. I understand why they would. And I don't have any problem with taxes because they're upstanding citizens, and I know they will pay their fair share of the taxes. But I do hope that they would maintain the view so that at least we can see it. At this point, I have sat on my porch every day that we lived here until the summer. And this summer, it's been a whole different story. The view has been totally destroyed as far as I'm concerned. All the greenery has grown up, the trees have grown up, and everything that I was told that wouldn't happen. Plus the trampoline and whatever, but it was moved today. So thank you all very much, and I hope you all will consider making the view be an important part of your decision, and that they maintain the view. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan.
Mr. Mayor, am I supposed to sign up somewhere if I want to talk?
You don't have to, we encourage it, but you can
Okay.
still speak, John, and I'll call you at the end. Yeah, you don't have to,
Thank you.
yeah. Next, we got Hal Murray. Hal?
Mr. Mayor, are these comments restricted to 3 minutes?
Yes.
The resolution of intent to permanently close a portion of South Mosley Street before you now is brought before the town of Edenton by Jim and Sally Blunt and George and Erica Taylor. That according to the town manager. The Blunts and the Taylors want the town of Edenton to give them almost 1/4 of an acre of town property and more access to the water for their own personal or private use. The town council was elected to protect town property and make prudent use of town resources while caring for the common good. All of this despite the fact that Jim and Sally Blunt, as well as George and Erica Taylor, each have more than 100 feet of waterfront access. Is this not enough? I see this personal request for a 1/4 acre of public land as sheer greed fueled by a sense of entitlement. Mr. Mayor, your property on Dale Street is 0.19 acres according to the GIS. That is smaller than the amount of property before you today. And I only say this to make the point that the parcel under consideration is not a trivial, small sliver of property, but rather a piece of property large enough for a house and a garage. The Blunts of March 1986 clearly shows the property line of South Mosley Street as well as South Mosley Street itself with a 66-foot right-of-way. Their plat is annotated with the following, and I quote, "There are no encroachments on or excroachments off this property." I would like to hear from the Blonts and the Taylors when and how this part of Mosley Street became and looked like a shared property, like a shared driveway and private property. I'm very concerned that the council has not publicly discussed any alternatives to a Christmas gift giveaway of prime town property. I'd like to hear a discussion about using the public land as a small park for the bench, a kayak launch, a pier for a small boat, or perhaps put the land up for public auction and sold to the highest bidder, as was done with other town properties, trucks, trolleys, cars like that. The common good would be well served by taking back this part of South Mosley, creating access for waterfront for residents and visitors. This would restore a viewscape for one of the 5 north-south streets in Edenton that go to the water. That action would support the common good in the best interest of Edenton taxpayers and residents. Giving this town property to 2 wealthy residents does not, I repeat, does not support the common good. Giving town property access to wealthy and influential residents under the guise of permanently closing the street smacks of preferential treatment. I'm of opinion that the town council just wants this whole thing to go away. And in doing so, they just want to take the path of least resistance. Give away the town property and the problem goes away as well. Members of the town council, do the right thing for the residents of Edenton and support the common good. Please don't give away this prime waterfront real estate to the people who have so much already. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next, Larry Mulder. Larry?
Larry Mulder, 306 South Mosley Street. I would like to just say that 22 years ago, I also, like Susan before me, moved there, and it was the water view. That's what we were sold on with that house. It was public property, and you had water view. I totally understand where the Blunts and the Taylors are coming from. I do. But at the same time, they're corner lots that they purchased. You know what you're buying. It's no different than buying property at an airport and then complaining about the airplanes. I mean, it kind of works the same way. However, I do think that a compromise can be made, not necessarily selling them the property or putting it up for public auction, or the town keeping it and could lease them the property and do it in that fashion so that they can use the property if they need to for space. Because even if you look at the way the road goes, their driveways are very tight there. I mean, I understand some of their premise. But at the same time, if the town relinquishes the property, then the residents of South Mosley Street really have no way to say, hey, this view is really out of control. As it is right now, it's out of control. It's the responsibility of the town council and historic district. And if you look in the historic district guidelines, it states that that is not to be, but it's never been followed. So I'm very sympathetic to what they want. I think that there's a compromise that can be made for what they want. But at the same time, I do think that the residents of South Mosley Street should be considered on what's being done there. My fear is, will a garage, a building go up? How is it being? We haven't had a discussion of how is it going to be divided? Is it going to be divided? Is it going to go to one side? Is it going to go to the other side? We don't know. There's a lot of questions right now. So I almost think this is a little premature that we're even going through this until we actually know how this is actually going to be done. But I stand right now, I think that a lease option of the property from the town to both residents, split in half, that's my take on it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Larry. Next, we've got Joe Watt. Joe?
Well, good evening. Joe Walk, 218 West Eden Street. You know, a lot of people talk about Edenton, they call it a hallmark town, because it reminds them of one of those towns in one of those movies, those Hallmark movies, especially at Christmas time. If you were here on Saturday night, it was the epitome of that. We were down the end of Broad Street, kids were singing, trees were getting lit, Santa was arriving, flotilla, it was quintessential Hallmark movie stuff. And I was thinking about how blessed I was to be in this town, experiencing this firsthand, not watching a movie, but it's in my town. And it got me thinking about this town and what makes it so special were all the people that came here before me. I think we owe them a debt of gratitude and respect for the decisions that have been made up to this point and have things the way they are. And it's such a great town that when you arrive here, you want to contribute. And I think about people like the Blunts that came here and started contributing. And we have this incredible independent pharmacy that is right out of a Hallmark movie on our little main street where you walk in and they call you by name and it's a father-daughter deal. And people talk about the time that so-and-so needed their medicine and it was after hours and there was a storm or whatever and they called Jim and he went down and got the medicine and saved the day. Right out of a Hallmark movie. And next door to him is the American success story of a kid that worked at McDonald's, learned all the things there were to learn, worked his way up till one day he owns McDonald's. Maybe he owns a few of them, one of them here, one of the cleanest ones in the country. These two families contribute a great deal to this community. They sponsor sports teams, they sponsor charities, they create jobs, they bring in an incredible amount of sales revenue that goes to taxes that fund this town council. They're so busy contributing, they don't complain. They're contributors, not complainers. And I would bet that you've never received a letter or an email from either of those families complaining. And so we have this situation at South Mosley Street that's been that way for 70 years or something, and all of a sudden it's an issue. Why is that? Why is it all of a sudden an issue? Well, I'd suggest that maybe not everyone that moves here is a contributor like the Taylors and the Blunts. Maybe there are some people that do more complaining than they do contributing. So when you make your decision, whatever it is, I would ask that you ask yourselves, are we appeasing the complainers or are we supporting the contributors? Because the Taylors and the Blunts are contributors. So I ask that you, whatever you come up with, that you support these wonderful people in our town, the Blunts and the Taylors. Thank you very much.
Next, Jim, do you still wish to speak? Jim Blunt?
Jim Blunt, 201 Blunt Street. For the record, the house has been sitting where it is for 75 years. I was 7 years old when it was put there. I assume it met whatever kind of criteria had to be met that day. As far as the view's there. If you check my account at Halsey's, there's a great deal of TLC put in that land, but not so much lake, because my wife's 82 years old, as am I, and she has a lot of health issues, is not able to get out and what she loves to do, and that's put her fingers in the dirt. But it's been, through the years, there's been a hell of a lot of blooms there that I paid for, and I hope everybody's enjoyed them. I guess that's all I'm about to say. I certainly, it would be negative to the neighborhood, it would seem to me, to mess it up. And Dr. Wisely put it there, and like I say, the church put the other house there, and it's been there since about 1950, 54.
Thank you, Jim. Next, John Sams? Yeah, you're up.
I didn't even sign up.
Sit down.
What?
Sit down.
Thank you. You're welcome. And before I begin, I just have a couple questions, procedural questions. We're having a public hearing here, and what happens after this? Is there any kind of vote? Or is it just?
No, there'll be a vote, yeah. There'll be a vote after you speak. Yeah, we'll have a presentation from staff, and then there'll be.
There'll be a vote on this, on what?
On whether to enact the ordinance closing the street or whether to not enact the ordinance closing the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
I request that each council member say why they are voting yes or no when they actually cast that vote. I know you don't have to say it, but I think you owe it to the citizens here to let us know why you're making those decisions and what influenced you. I also, I sent my written remarks to the council members by email. Is there anybody that didn't receive that? You all received it? I've got copies of that here. If Mr. Murray would, anybody else that's interested in looking at them, take a copy. They're 8 pages long. I'm not going to go through that. If you've read them, we're just going to skip to the high points, the cliff notes here. And I'm going to cover those. I've also got copies of those if people would like to look at them. Now, the 8-page one has pictures, and I'd ask that Mr. Murray circulate those around too. And I've got a couple pictures here that y'all can have that show the property from the GIS view and the property from the street. And what the lady said is correct. We'll talk about this in a little bit. I'm going to go fast. I'm going to talk fast. It's not going to last all night long, I promise.
I was only limited to 3 minutes. Yeah, but everybody's limited to 3 minutes, so you got another minute, John. And I'll give you a little, I'll give you 20, 30 seconds more because I was answering your questions and cut into your time. But
3 minutes?
3 minutes, yeah. That's our policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to register 3 minutes and transfer to him.
Is that permitted? It's going to take me 10 minutes. Can I have
Generally
10 minutes?
permitted, no, you got 6 minutes, and this is a long-standing policy.
No, it
and
isn't.
We've received, excuse me?
It's a policy for every meeting, but not for
Yes, it is. I beg to differ.
All right.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to tell you that
So we set it to get.
when he gives me my signals up, if y'all want me to sit down, I'll be happy to sit down.
John, we're gonna allow you to speak. It's not up to them to determine the amount of time that you have to speak.
It's a public hearing. How can the public know what I'm going to say? If I haven't-
John, your time is running now, and I'm
Okay.
you're testing my
You
patience.
see how this works, people? Okay.
John, you're testing my patience. We've read your remarks. You're no different than anyone else. You're cutting into your
All right.
time, and I'm telling you,
I will
you're cutting
go,
into your
I
time.
will talk quickly,
Okay.
fast as I can. I'm from the south and not that fast. My background, I spent most of my life on the water or near the water. I'm a retired naval officer, graduate of Annapolis. I served on ships for 20 years. I have cruising sailboats. We've been to the Bahamas, we've been to Maine. Last year we went to Canada on our boat. I know a lot about the water. I'm going fast because you guys have read this, and I hope that you've read enough so you understand what I'm saying. What nobody's mentioned here tonight is riparian rights. If you know what riparian rights are, raise your hand. Have some kind of idea. Okay, my wife raised her hand. Riparian rights are the rights that are owned by property owners that have their property on the water. Mr. Blunt is one, I'm one, and the town of Edenton, all of you also are one. You have rights on that water, that street. If you sell this property, your rights will go away. If you want to build a fishing pier, if you want to have something for your, a kayak launcher, you can't do it once these rights are gone away. Somebody asked earlier what's happening. Immediately after this, they're gonna vote on the ordinance that'll close that street. Mr. Blunt and his neighbors, maybe one of you, I'm not sure, will then own to the middle of the street, and all the riparian rights that exist there will go away. That's what I'm here to talk about. They're not gonna give me much time to say it, so I'm just telling you, if you want me to talk further, I will. If you don't, because you read it, you know what I have to say. I was told before I came here by somebody, not Mr. Murray, and I know you guys don't like him, that the fix is in. The fix is in. And I said, I don't think so. I think if the counselors read this, they will know that what needs to be done is retain the rights for the people of Edenton forever, not do what they're talking here. And Mr. Molderigo was correct. There's probably things that can be done other than get rid of the street. That street has been here for 300 years. What's the rush to do anything tonight? What's pushing this? I don't understand. I mean, when Mr. Blunt's house was built and the neighbor's house, if you can look at those pictures I passed around. They're back behind the setback line, exactly where they should be, according to the town regulations. They knew that when they bought it. Somehow, they have owned the land in between, and that's why those pictures are like that you looked at. There's big trees there. And I could talk a whole lot more about how the town treated the people at the corner of Water and Granville Street, completely different. The lady that complained about the view going away, well, that was because when the Edenton Historic Commission changed the rules to make Granville Street a scenic view, they didn't include the next street over, which is the street you're talking about, Mosley. If they had done that,
Thank you, I gave you 30 extra seconds.
thank you very much.
Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you very much.
Hi, may I say just one thing?
You need to come up, yes.
Just one thing. I'm not
Carolyn,
on the
you
list,
come
and
up.
I apologize, everybody. I don't want to make this meeting longer than it is.
And Carolyn, I know you, but announce your name and your
I'm
address.
Carolyn Mulderrick. I live on South Mosley Street as well. My husband is Larry, and he just spoke. I think we're all sort of going a little bit off the rails here. I don't think, and I think I can speak for a lot of my neighbors, I don't think anyone has any problem with it being privately owned. I don't. I think our big problem, that we live north of this area, is our view. And the houses were there, for sure. We're talking about the view where the street was, where it dead-ended into the street. And there are plants planted there, but those plants started as flowers. They are now trees. That's what's changing. There's trees and there's bushes. I understand that Mrs. Blunt wants to dig in the dirt. I know that her health is not well. I think it's great. I think it's healing. But you can't take that away from your neighbors. You need to be fair to your neighbors. I think it's fine if it's publicly owned or privately owned. I don't have a dog in that fight. My fight is don't block my view. That's not fair to me, and it's not fair to my neighbors. That's all I'm asking. No structures, no fences, there's already a fence there. If that property is technically public owned, I'm a little confused how a fence got on the property. It's above and beyond plantings. There's a fence on that land. So I'm confused as to all that, how that happened, and I do know our previous town manager allowed, and I've been told this by the previous town manager, they were going to allow that street to look like a private driveway with the exception of if the town of Edenton has to get underneath it to fix any structure underneath, it is up to the homeowners to put their driveway back. That was the only restriction. Now, why it was allowed to have plants put in and fences put in is beyond me. Because it even says it in the rules of the historic guidelines, you cannot do that. It is not something that you're able to do. You cannot block a public vista. And I think that's all we are complaining about. It's not the technical owner of the property, it's what's being done to that property that's not fair to everybody else.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thanks everybody.
Mr. Mayor, can I speak?
Yes, and I know you also, when you come
Yes,
forward,
I
if you will, announce your name
My
and
name
your
is Kathy Keel. and
address.
I live on 210 South Mosley Street. And I have grown up here. I remember when there was a basketball goal in that driveway for the neighborhood kids to play. I have never known it to be a major public access as far as voting. I would hate for it to ever be allowed that. It is a neighborhood. I would not want the two owners on either side to have strangers coming in and out of their driveway. That is a safety issue. We have lots of lovely public accesses with parks for people that want to vote and do things. Now, as far as, who owns it, I have no objection. I do think that you know, yes, they put up trees and plants and things, they're just trying to buffer it so it's not quite so public looking. I find it attractive actually. Yeah, maybe maintain it so we do have a view. I drive down that street every day, dozens of times, and I love looking out at it. So that's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen? Karen, if you will, just restate your name
Yep.
and your address.
Thank you. Good morning, good evening. Karen Murray, 112 West Queen. I walk to the pier and the waterfront relatively frequently, and I believe that the south end of Mosley should become a park again with access to the bay and Pembroke Creek. The town courts visitors, we say, come learn about our history, see our beauty, see the water. One of the biggest attractions is the waterfront. Sunset over the water is different every day. It's frequently spectacular. And we often speak with visitors when we walk the pier, and one of the things they comment about is the views. From the pier, you can see John's Island, you can see up Pembroke Creek, and like I said, the sunset's always changing. So access to the water here. If you walk down South Oakham to Water Street, you see the creek, you see the Hayes Bridge, and you see the cypress trees behind it. It's pretty nice. If you walk down Court, all the way, from one end of Court to the other, it's a full-on view of the water, of the bay. Then west, water parallels the new breakwater that you put in there, the wall, and it provides a wide open view of the whole bay and Barker House. Okay, we all know Broad Street ends at the pier, which gives you access to everything, excellent view of the bay. Endless hours of sunset watching, stargazing, and we frequently go down there to watch the ISS go over, because you get a real long, you get a full sky exposure there. Next is Granville, also provides a great view of the water, at least from Church on down because of the elevation, and every time I drive down Granville, I look down there and see what the state of the water is at the end of the street. And as somebody mentioned, John, maybe keep in mind that there's been much said about preserving that viewscape at the end of Granville. Mosley would also provide that full-on view of the water if somebody hadn't planted what's now trees there several years ago. So I'm sort of aligned with what other people said. You know, flowers are fine, but they've grown into trees that obscure the view. And the old timers here, and there's a few of us here, or a few of you here, because I wasn't here back then, know that the space at the end used to be open for public fishing and just public access to the water fishing for town residents. So my view is that it's time to reopen that viewscape and preserve the public access to the waterfront. And from what Sharon Smith said earlier, this seems to be aligned with CORE's objectives to strengthen the overall quality of life by increasing access to outdoor activities, focus on the history, the charm, and the natural beauty. The natural beauty of being able to walk to the water and see it, or just see it from your front porch, as people have said. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, at this point in time, I will close the public hearing and thank everyone for their comments. We'll certainly take all of those into consideration. Now, as it relates to this issue, we'll hear from our town manager regarding his report on this agenda item.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item for new business is the ordinance to close a portion of South Mosley Street. The attached ordinance is formal documentation, if approved by Town Council, to close the 400 block of South Mosley. After official staff and legal review of the section of roadway, the town manager finds that the road in question has been in existence for as long as official town records and maps have shown. Unlike other paper streets that have recently been considered for closure, this property in question was not lost by the contiguous property owners located at 119 and 201 South Blunt Street in any type of development and or expansion of local street mapping. The size of the street section in question is approximately 66 feet wide by 164 feet long. Based on the history, location, and the value of the property and consideration, the town manager recommends the council take no action on closing this section of the roadway. The town manager also recommends that the town review the public right-of-way and work with the contiguous property owners to allow for continued access, general landscaping maintenance, and any type of public improvements that are needed. this could be established via memorandum of understanding or at least between all parties.
Okay, do y'all have any questions of our town manager and his recommendation? Or would you prefer to proceed to a motion to open up the floor for deliberations and further comments?
I'd have a question before we went there.
Uh-huh.
Corey, have you been in contact with the Blunts and the Taylors about your recommendation?
Yes, we have discussed this as of early this week and late last week.
And what is their stance on your recommendation?
We were in a general consensus that this has been this way for quite some time, and that there is kind of an established status quo of how that's been used, and I think that there's some minor items that we could address for some type of shared agreement between all the parties involved.
Does that include the view shed? We've heard a lot of
Yes.
comments tonight on the view.
Yes.
Is the administration exploring any other options other than this one?
Not at this time. The immediate action at hand is the decision to close the street or not. And we would review with legal counsel after that if there were any other variations of that moving forward.
When you say work with the property owners as far as landscaping, what are you saying?
Look at what their needs are, what the town's needs are, and what the local residents' needs are, and kind of come to some type of consensus that clearly defines what all parties involved would agree to.
So I want to get a full understanding first before voting. I know that Councilman Turner has said this before, we've become customary to where we table a lot of matters, but I don't think I'm prepared to make a vote tonight personally, until we have a clear understanding of what's going to happen, and also address it to the public as well. But there are a lot of concerns expressed tonight, and I see things on both sides, but I don't think we're ready to make a decision personally.
I agree with you. I don't think we're ready either, and there is not a rush to do this tonight, correct?
And any type of, so if the ordinance was approved or not approved, if not approved, what we would do is have to come back with any type of legal recommendations for council to, again, vote on. So at that time, every option would be shared from legal counsel, and then council would ultimately have a decision on which one is the correct fit. I do think there's a decision tonight that needs to be made rather to close the street or not, because each part of that logic process gets us to another starting point.
I'd make a motion that we go into discussion and deliberation on this.
Okay, and we would have to have a motion, either thumbs up in the ordinance or thumbs down, and a second to that motion for us to get into the further discussion and further deliberation stage. So at this time, I would entertain either a motion to enact the ordinance as proposed or to not enact the ordinance as proposed.
So I make a motion that we do not enact the ordinance to close the street.
I'd second that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second, and the motion by Councilman Costin and second by Councilman Sellers is that we not enact this ordinance. Is there further discussion?
I've got several thoughts on this.
Okay.
My family moved to Blunt Street in 1991. I was 7. Back then, there was kids on bicycles everywhere. We rode bikes up and down everywhere we could, anywhere that was public land. Probably about the time I was 9, 10, one of my friends, had to be one of the local ones, they said, that street's public. And we said, what are you talking about? They said, the driveway between the two houses is public. And we're like, so? And they said, so we can ride our bikes down there if we want. Well, as a 9, 10-year-old, we knew we didn't have any business going down there. And we never did, unless we were invited down there by one of the property owners. Since I've moved here, everybody's known that it was public. Nobody has violated those two property owners' rights to the enjoyment of their properties. And that was based on common sense. It's a very tiny little driveway that separates the two properties. I've heard people say, well, they should pay for it. If you don't think they paid for it when they bought those properties, you're missing something. Because the value of those properties is big, and so they did pay for it when they moved there. I hear completely the ideas that Mosley Street residents and everybody who travels down that road should have a good view, and it's a beautiful spot. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. As to the Blunts and Taylors, I know that they are neither entitled nor greedy. I am confident they would work with the town, they would work with the residents of Mosley Street, and they would find a compromise, a common sense compromise, so that everybody could continue the enjoyment that they've had of that viewscape. It would also allow them to continue the lives that they have lived in those houses for so long. So my stance is we leave it as is. We come to an understanding. We work with all the parties, follow Corey's recommendations, and we move on. And I think this is the most common sense, easy way to move forward.
Thank you, Councilman Sellers. And with Councilman Dixon's absence tonight, it's probably mathematically impossible for me to have a vote, but I would like to speak on the issue. It's always been a street. If the motion carries to not enact the ordinance to close the street, it will continue to be recognized as a street. The most compelling argument that I've heard from the opponents of the motion is the view shed. And based on Mr. Gooden's conversations with the property owners, I think there's certain things that can be done to protect that view shed, not only for the neighbors, but also for the traveling and walking public that are walking north to south along Mosley Street. Mr. Mulderry and his wife live just a house or two from this area of Mulderry Street, and Mosley Street, and I think his comments to let's protect the view shed and let's also look for some sort of compromise is a way to go on this. I'm not in favor of abandoning it as a street, but I'm also not in favor of turning it into something that it's never been in terms of park or kayaking. It's a street, and it should remain a street, and we should strive to work to protect everybody's rights involved, the property owners, the Mosley Street residents, and the citizens at large, and I think we've got an opportunity to do that tonight. Other comments?
Did you want to make a motion?
Yeah, we already have a motion and a second, so,
If approved, then,
all right, when you say if approved, yeah,
so if we close the street,
right.
you're saying the next step would be to meet with both property owners? No.
No. If the street's closed, it would be equal portion abandoned from the town and relinquished to the contiguous property owners.
But your motion was to not
Correct.
enact.
Correct.
And so if we do not enact the ordinance that's presented, and we also then dissolve the intent to close resolution that was presented previously, at that point, we could come back with some type of legal agreement, encroachment agreement, lease, or memorandum of understanding, or something beyond that the town attorney could advise us on that's a legal option.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, we've got a motion and a second, and just to clarify for the general public, and also just to make sure that I heard Councilman Cobb and Councilman Sellers correct, the motion is to not enact the ordinance to close a portion of the 400 block of South Mosley Street. Is that correct,
That's
Councilman? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of not enacting the ordinance, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that motion? And also, as a housekeeping matter, do we need to have a motion to withdraw the intent?
Yes.
You may recall there was an intent to close the street. The vote probably takes care of that, but just for housekeeping matters, I would.
motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Craig Miller and a second by Councilman Bond to withdraw the previous intent to close the 400 block of South Mosley Street. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your comments tonight, and also for the materials that you sent in to us. We consider everybody's opinion, and did that tonight in our deliberations and in our decision that we made, and we encourage you to continue to voice your concerns. And I will again quote Mr. Moderic, I think you've got an opportunity for some compromise where a lot of people can benefit from this. The next agenda item are just remarks from me as mayor. It's traditional for the mayor to make remarks in the December meeting following an election. And I would like to center my remarks on thankfulness and gratefulness for being able to work in such a wonderful town and to work with such a wonderful body of elected officials up here. I would like to congratulate Councilman Costin, Councilman Bond, and Councilman Miller for your re-election. Edenton has always been known for stable leadership, and I think the voters have spoken that they appreciate your stable leadership, and I think that your re-elections will allow us to continue with such leadership. We've got a number of big and bold and exciting projects that are going on now, and I'm just thankful that you guys are going to be around for us, hopefully, to see those to a fruition. Also, generally, it is a time for me to announce reappointments to committees and to reappoint chairmanships. I'm going to withhold doing that tonight. We've had a lot on our plate here in 2025, and in the coming year, I'll get together with you guys and hopefully, maybe by January, February, have the committee appointments and chairman appointments in place. But yeah, let me reiterate, I'm thankful for all of y'all, particularly thankful that the three of you guys got reelected, and can't wait to see what's in front of us for 2026. Also, as customary at this meeting, when we have elections and either new councilmen have been elected or old councilmen have been reelected, to have a reorganizational meeting, and as a part of that reorganizational meeting, we swear in our newly re-elected town councilman, and we're about to do that. At this time, I would like to recognize a good friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine, Judge Eula Reed. She's been kind enough to offer her services and her dignity to the swearing-in process. I know we've got press here, we've got family members here. During the time that our councilmen are being sworn in, you're encouraged to take pictures. Also, after the swearing-in process, the press and family members also will be given the opportunity, if Judge Reed will allow it, to take pictures with her also. And once that's done, we'll move to the other remaining items on our agenda. So, Corey, I'm going to hand it over to you and Tammy Woodley and also Judge Reed to begin the swearing-in process and the administration of the oaths.
Thank you, Mayor.
And family members, as I said, as your councilman comes up, you're more than welcome to take pictures.
The first council person is Aaron Costin. You come forward, please.
Practice.
Put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right, and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Aaron Costin,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and law of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my
the
office
duties of my office
as councilman
as councilman
of the 3rd Ward
of the 3rd Ward
for the town of Edenton, North Carolina.
of the town of Edenton, North Carolina.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's it.
Mr. Miller? Put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right, and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Craig Miller,
solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly
solemnly that I will
I will
support and maintain
support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith.
and that I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as councilman
as councilman
at large for the
At large.
town of Edenton,
at large for the town of Edenton,
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sworn in, so you can be sworn out.
You got that right. I know.
Everybody in the doctor's office, come on. I need to get a, you gonna hold on? Oh. I didn't want to break nobody camera.
I don't think we have to worry about that, Mr. Ball.
Okay, I'll take your word.
Left hand on the Bible, raise your right, and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Elton Lee Bond Jr.,
do solemnly swear or affirm,
do solemnly swear and
or affirm,
affirm
that I will
that I will
support and maintain
support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States,
and the Constitution and laws
Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith. Okay.
and that I will faithfully
That I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
as councilman of the 4th Ward
as councilman of the 4th Ward
for the town of Edenton, North Carolina.
for the town of Edenton, North Carolina.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I do need your signature right there.
chicken, you need my chicken stretch, don't you?
Kim's here to work with Mr. Costa.
I heard that. I think it is. I included the L for my middle name,
Very good.
okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Craig.
You see a young man, not too young.
Group shot, stay here.
Yeah. Can we get a picture of all three of them?
Yeah.
Cool. And Judge Reed, if we could just impose a few more minutes of your time, could you take a picture with all three of the gentlemen?
Oh, absolutely.
If you stand all right there, we can all get a good shot.
Good looking group.
Okay. Outstanding.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you and congratulations.
And Judge Reed, thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Judge.
You did.
It's an honor to have you.
Good to see you again. You gonna behave?
Our next agenda item is the election of our mayor pro tem. At this time, I will open the floor for nominations for the position of mayor pro tem.
Mayor, I make a motion that we nominate Councilman Elton Bond for Mayor Pro Tem. I second that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Before we do so, are there any other nominations for this position? There appearing to be none, I will close the nominations.
One man.
So, the nominations are now closed. We got a motion and second to name Elton Bond as our mayor pro tem. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Next agenda item is our town manager's report. I will ask our town manager to keep it as brief as possible, but also address the citizens and councilmen's concerns that were stated at our last meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. At the November 10th, 2025 meeting, there were a total of 14 public comments that were received. Of these 14 public comments, 12 of which were in reference to potential sale of the firing range at the industrial park. These commenters were mainly in opposition of the sale and did provide concerns for potential noise pollution. These commenters included Lisa Law, Ed Stiver, Karen Hatfield, Lynn Parton, Linda Sutton, Jonathan Tobias, Joseph Aldorsi, Aaron Lambert, Ron Height, John Mitchner, Deborah Miller, and Bill Ross. At the November 10th meeting, council voted to submit a letter to the Edenton Partnership requesting that land be transferred to the town of Edenton. This letter was submitted and ownership was transferred to the town of Edenton. The second public comment was Hal Murray spoke regarding to the intent for South Mosley Street and felt that the property should be a town park to be used as residence. Tonight, council did not take any action on the closure of the paper street or the ordinance to accompany that. The third and final public comment was from Diane Klingel. She spoke with concerns between her and the adjacent property owner there as far as trees and vines that had been removed and left the property in what she quoted as horrendous condition, and the interest that she had in restoring that. Town staff has been working with Ms. Kling to help navigate the potential civil disagreement between both property owners. When we look at items considered timely and important, Councilman Turner asked about a Howard Towns update. I do have a meeting this Friday with the group to discuss the remaining funding and potential project status, which includes the fuel system as well as the breakwater repairs here to the existing pylons.
While you're on that, are they going to come present?
Yes, and that's ultimately the goal, is to get them back in January. Councilman Miller thanked everyone for a successful event at Boogie on Broad. He also asked for an update from Down East Preservation in January. We agree Boogie event was standing. The local partners and staff did an amazing job. And Dwayne has worked with Down East Preservation for a January update presentation.
Will Mr. Tyler be here, Dawson Tyler?
Yes, they are receptive and do plan to be here. Councilman Costa asked if staff would revisit the employee social and try to rearrange for another event to be held soon. Yes, we plan to have a spring appreciation event and are waiting until after the first year to get through this reorg meeting. Councilman Costa also asked if Town Hall had concerns with Town Hall closing early and proper notice is not being given to the general public. Again, we have done the best we can to keep folks informed on closures, but interruptions do happen. And we do encourage residents to use any of the drop boxes or website contacts if something is unexpected or unanswered. Councilman Costa reminded us about the lighting needs at Morgan Park. The electric department has made these improvements to the lighting and replaced some of the burnout bulbs as well as added some new items. Councilman Costa also stated due to the recent government shutdown, the town council consider waiving any fees for customers who were affected by the shutdown. During this time, we have monitored these local impacts and we have helped on a case-by-case basis with anyone that has came to us with problems. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, and you were brief.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilman Gooden. The next, Councilman, Manager Gooden. Next is our items considered timely and important to the mayor and the council. The one thing that I would like to say to council is we do have our upcoming annual retreat. We're working on that date in January. And I would ask you to use the next 30 days to discuss among yourselves and also to email Corey Gooden things that you would like to discuss, and we'll decide if that's a major agenda item or just things that we can discuss in general under miscellaneous as a part of that meeting. So please use this 30-day period coming up to talk among yourselves and also to give Corey some idea of some things that you would like to talk about. Any other items considered timely important by the body? Yes, sir.
A recap of the last planning session?
Yes.
So we can see where we are with those things?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yes.
Mayor, I know we had some, what is the status of the extra money from the ARPA funds? I know at one time we talked about improving our neighborhood parks with that money. Are we going to discuss that maybe at our planning session?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that's important. I think
Yes.
we talked about added amenities to the parks.
Yeah, we can discuss that more at the planning session.
Okay.
You want my list?
No. For the planning session or things you want to bring up right now?
I can give it to you, I can give it to you, you can go both places.
Okay, go for it.
No. Where's Christmas parade?
Christmas parade is this Saturday,
You're with us.
and you're with us if you can make it. And we're gonna meet at the Colony Tire retail store around 9:15, 9:30. And Chief LaFawn has been kind enough to get us the large oversight, not that one.
We're gonna have a truck, but not that big.
Not that big a one. Well, they're giving me a hard time because I can barely get into that one. But we'll have another, is it from the Department of Agriculture?
Yes, sir.
The North Carolina Department of Agriculture has been kind enough to bring a truck down. And we're gonna be
So
in
we
that.
need that Colony Tire.
Colony Tire, their retail store right there on the corner of Coke and North Broad Street.
We can even put you in the front seat.
Yeah. Which
If you come, we'll put you in the front seat.
This isn't closed, right, Chief?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a gladiator.
Oh, okay.
It's a gladiator.
Corey,
are you getting candy? We're gonna hand out candy on the side, right? Is that what we're
If
doing?
some of you want to walk, then not only is it rule of the town, but it's also the rule of the chamber and their insurance folks, they don't like you throwing it from the vehicle. But any of you do want to bring candy, you want to walk beside the truck, you're more than welcome to hand that out, and I'll leave that up to your
That works.
individual
I'll do it.
discretion.
No, don't do that.
Maybe you can.
Give Eric to do it, how about that?
And I think Councilman Dixon felt very strongly about
He
that.
did,
so
he
you might-
did.
If he's back,
Nick said we'll do it too.
maybe he can do that also.
There
Were
you
there
go.
any other matters?
Two. I've got one. Chief LaFawn was thanked by Sheriff Bass Night, which was a great gesture and just more example of how well those two groups have worked together and the improvement we've seen under Chief LaFawn. And I just wanted to let the public know that beyond that, Chief LaFawn has gone the extra mile. A friend of mine was taking her daughters to school. They backed out of their driveway on Granville, and while they were backing out, the mother looked both ways, and she locked eyes with the escapee. Her two daughters were on the way to White Oak and D.F. Walker, and they quickly realized, that man's at all orange. Something's wrong. So she backed out, she went the opposite direction, she called the police. She ran into an officer and she said, you know, he's right there, run, get him. And she circled around and she saw Chief LaFawn, who I think was in the shower when he got the call. He was able to get dressed and then go down there and help make the arrest. But the two girls were very scared. It shook them up. You know, there's an escaped person from jail in my neighbor's driveway. Chief LaFawn went and met with those two girls in their home to help ease their fears. And it's the little things like that that make Edenton. And I think it's the little things like that that make Chief LaFawn who he is.
Great, no doubt.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Are there any other items considered timely and important?
Just two things for me.
Yes, sir.
The event calendar, I know Patrick and I had talked about it earlier on, about having an event calendar for us, so we can start participating. Do you have an update on that, one that we can do digital?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. So inclusive of that, the PIO person, do we have an update on?
Tammy and I are working the MAPS group. We've been trying to work with a temporary admin assistant to determine what all the needs are so we can get the job description right. We'll be taking action on that in January as well.
Gotcha. That's it. Okay.
Just one last thing, as is my personal custom, whenever we have a newly constituted town council, I like to offer a closing prayer as we move forward as a newly constituted group. So this time, if it's your wish, I'd ask that you bow your head and join me in prayer. Dear Lord God of wisdom and guidance, we thank you for this day and the many blessings you have given us. We thank you for this town and its residents. And on this evening, when we recognize our newly elected council, we thank you for these individuals who serve our town with a steady hand. May you grant this council clarity of mind, humility of heart, and the courage to do what is right. We ask that you continue to bless their work, you continue to bless our community, and you continue to help us all seek the common good. It's in your name we pray. Amen. And with that, I will call this meeting adjourned.